Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Women of Color and Confidence. I am your host, Amber Rose West. And today I'm going to be interviewing Bianca Lynch, who is the mastermind behind the movement Healthy, Big, and Black. I can't even begin to express to you how excited I am for this interview because the mission of this movement, the message behind this movement, I believe is so needed within the community of healthy, big, and Black women. Today, Bianca and I are going to be talking about the stigmas that Black women endure when it comes to having bigger bodies, bigger personalities, and wanting to fulfill big, bold dreams. We're going to talk about what it means to cultivate confidence, confidence that is suited to you, and how to cultivate healthy habits around food, exercise, your mental health that really align with you and your identity. I titled this show Defining Your Identity with Confidence because I believe that who you are and who you want to be, your identity, can be whatever identity it is that you need it to be in achieving whatever dream or goal it is that you have. And when you are attempting to cultivate that identity in your life, there are certain behaviors, thought patterns, techniques, of habits that you can incorporate to support you on that journey. Bianca and I are going to dive deep into that during this episode. Super excited to be chatting with her today. So let's get into the episode. I'm really excited to talk about this today, defining your identity with confidence. Because, well, I really enjoy you, but I also enjoy your identity and how you just you like share it online so well. And I know you in person, so I've actually experienced it also in person, but it makes
Amber,
my heart.
Do not make me cry before we get started. Okay, it's been emotional. It's been an emotional 2 days, and I swear to God, I'm like the drop of a dime. My eyes.
I mean, to know you in person and to see it and then to watch you share it on social media so other people can see it. Whenever I scroll through your page, I'm like, girls growing up.
Oh, thank you, darling. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. I'm excited to chat with you today. I would love for you to just share a little bit with everybody about who you are, and if you want to talk a little bit about Healthy, Big, and Black, I'd love for you to share that too.
Yes. So me, I'm Bianca Lynch. So I am a healthy, big, and Black coach, and that's probably not a term that you've heard before, which is perfectly fine. But essentially, Healthy, Big, and Black is a movement for Black women who want to be healthy without having to be, confined by the standards of society. Like Black women who want to be able to really step into the best version of themselves, be able to be like confident in their body and be able to just live a full life without feeling like you have to hide because you're too big or because you're too Black, but being able to just fully show up as you in the body that you currently are while having these healthy habits that are just part of who you are and not like some crazy diet or some trend that you're following, but literally just like embodying this amazing, healthy, big, and Black woman.
I love it so much. Okay, so now I want to hear about you. Who are you?
Oh, who am I? Man, Bianca. So Bianca's a lot of things. There are a lot of things happening all the time. I am an employee. I also have a full-time job. So a lot of my career is in marketing. And so it was actually a really, really big step for me to even transition into doing Healthy, Big, and Black. So I'm really excited about that. So marketing is a really big part of my life. I am a fiance. So yes, I am getting married in October, which is also really exciting. I'm actually in North Carolina. I was born and raised here, but I love, love, love travel. So I'm here now, but listen, catch my geotags because I'm gonna be everywhere else. I am a lover of all things Spanish, all things Harry Potter, all things food, all things fishing. There's just a few fun facts about me, but essentially at the core, like I truly am a healthy, big, and Black woman. Like I am someone who is continuously working on improving who I am, doing that inner work to get clear on my identity and embodying this woman who can really just shine and, more importantly, help other Black women shine.
Yes, ma'am. Your travel photos are so impressive too. Every time, like, I don't remember what it was, like a cruise or something, but I was scrolling through and I was like, okay, she looks like she's having a lot of fun. I want to go
Thank you.
travel with
Thank
you.
you.
I
As I'm
love
sure
it.
you will.
This message is so important, and I'm like beyond. I mean, you and I talk about it pretty regularly, but it's definitely one of those. I mean, there's so many layers to this message that we're going to get into today, but I feel like this concept of the idea of a body type not matching what society says it is or isn't, like I grew up, yeah, I had my own struggles with eating disorders and found myself in communities with other people who had eating disorders, and people think immediately like thin is good, thin is healthy. And that's just what we've been programmed to believe, and this idea that like anything over a certain weight or anything over a certain size immediately right off the bat is like, well, you obviously don't care about yourself and you're obviously unhealthy and you're going to die and you're so sick. And these they're just myths, they're misconceptions, they're not true. And I think especially in a community of Black women where there is this stereotype of like the big loud, you know, mammy type
Ghetto.
of Black woman, ghetto. Yeah, it's just like they're always big, they're always loud, and that they don't care about things and like all this stuff. How it is that we as Black women and our body types and our body sizes and our body personalities, that we get to be that and also care about ourselves and care about other people and be healthy. So I want to talk a little bit. I know this is a really big passion of yours, so I want to pass the mic to you so you can talk about, how this journey came to be, how Healthy, Big, and Black came to be. Also, too, I might put you a little bit on the spot so that you can share the reservations that you had about Healthy, Big, and Black when it first came to be.
Oh man.
And just share. You're such a passionate person. I'm just gonna let you share. Tell us.
Yes, absolutely. So the funny thing is, for me, like health has always been so, so important. And back in the day, like whenever I went to school, like I originally wanted to be a nutritionist, and then I kind of went to wanting to like minor in nutrition. I thought that my dream job at the time was like to work for the FDA. And long story short, I kind of ended up like burying all of that, and I ended up getting my degree in marketing, which, is fine. I don't regret it. Marketing is fun. It's all good. But it's always been like under the surface. So even when like my entrepreneurship journey started back in 2017 and I was doing social media consulting, one of like my favorite parts was always really talking to people about the personal development aspect and, showing women entrepreneurs how to shine online and being like, tell your story, tell them who you are, even though again, this is like social media marketing, that was always my favorite part. And I always knew that I wanted to end up in some sort of coaching. And again, all this time, right, I'm still living my regular, like Healthy, Big, and Black life. So I'm also becoming more in tune with my body. I'm also going through my own things whenever it comes to weight, whenever it comes to body confidence, whenever it comes to nutrition and fitness and, self-care, mental health, all of these things. Because as you know, Amber, Healthy, Big, and Black is not just about, work out and eat vegetables. Like it's feeling good from the inside out. It's taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally. It's self-care, right? It's all the things. So I'm on this journey as I'm going through my own entrepreneurship journey. And back in 2019, I started doing sort of this like general accountability coaching. And it's funny because even back then, like people would always reach out to me and be like, oh, I love your post about health, or I love that you're always working out. Like even back then, like people were always like attracted to that aspect of me that was specific to health. And I was just kind of like in denial, and I felt really weird about it. I didn't really want to put myself out there because I was like, I do not look like the person who should be talking about health and wellness and working out. Like I do not fit. Like that box is here, and I'm like back there somewhere. I'm not even like right outside the box. I'm like way over there.
Yeah.
So as I'm building this coaching brand, I ended up transitioning into more like general healthy lifestyle coaching. And Amber, you know this. And even this piece, I felt really, really good about talking about health, but in the back of my mind, under the surface, there was always something there. Like, you need to be talking to Black women. You need to be incorporating what this means on top of being a Black woman. You need to be bringing up the fact that, oh, hey, that's great. We can talk about healthy habits. Yes, these are things you can be doing, but let's be honest. When you're Black, this is what that might look like. As a Black woman, this is your experience. That was still kind of bubbling under the surface. So, getting there. I'm sorry. It's funny. It's really interesting to reflect on this now because again, like it never went away.
Yeah.
And like even me, like now being aware of the fact that it never went away.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm focusing on healthy habit coaching, and I have this amazing friend named Amber Rose West, and and Amber and I, we've been talking for months at this point. And Amber would even tell me, she'd be like, Bianca, your content is good, but there's just like something missing. You're talking about healthy habits for entrepreneurs, and that's great, but like I've heard that, and et cetera, et cetera. So we were actually hanging out at Amber's house in Florida, and we were talking about business because if you're an entrepreneur, like somehow it's literally
always comes back.
It always ends up coming back to business. So we were talking about our businesses, and we were talking about like our content, and it literally, Amber was like, Bianca, this is literally what I see, like these aspects. And she drew like a 3-circle Venn diagram type thing. And then she was like, you have the healthy piece, you have the big piece, and you have the Black piece. And I was like, oh my God.
I remember you were sitting on the couch too, and you were like, it like took you a second because I think you were like, it's genius, but you were also like, I don't know if I want to do that,
Yeah. It's a really interesting feeling because it's like getting this feeling of when you hear something and like this is it, and then the very next second fear is right there, imposter syndrome is right there, inner critic is right there, like literally, yes. And as Amber said, she could absolutely see it on my face, so she knew. So essentially, this is where Healthy, Big, and Black was born. And full transparency, even after that night, it took me some months to even still like fully accept it. At the end of the day, you're right, just like everyone else, like it is a journey. But that is how Healthy, Big, and Black was born. It started years and years ago as just me living my life. And it kind of was like weaving its way in and out of my entrepreneurship world. And it has finally and thankfully risen to the surface, and we are here.
I love it so much. And not just because I was a part of the journey and creation, but it just, as I watch it unfold, I'm just like, it's so freaking juicy. And the thing that I love about it the most is that it required you to really step into this place of owning that these are traits of your identity that I think that, like, yes, you had been thinking about before, but also that it doesn't matter what the characteristics of your identity are. When you take full ownership of that, always going to be fucking scary, always. And then on top of that, I think that there is another layer that is Black women are programmed to constantly apologize for being big and Black. And it's so annoying. And when I say big and Black, I also mean like, okay, yes, big in body size, but having big personalities, having big ideas and innovations, wanting to have the seat closest to the person making decisions at the table. We are big because we want big things. And, I talked about this in a previous interview, is that we as Black women are always bringing people along with us. And in order to bring people along, we need a big boat and we need a big captain, and that's us, right? But we're always taught to apologize for that and to be quiet and to be smaller and to fit ourselves into boxes and to code switch and do all that stuff. And so I could see it was so funny when I like put it on the board. I remember seeing your face go, it seems big. And I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a big fucking movement and it's going to impact so many people. And you, my dear, are the one that's going to lead it because you have, and I guess the best way to explain it is like the experience, right? You know what it's like to be big and black and healthy. And so when there are other women out there who identify as those things and have nowhere to go, I've been a part of so many different black like self-care groups, and just the amount of reports that go on in those groups about how nobody in their family wants to be healthy. People make fun of them for going on a walk or wanting to learn how to run to do a
Mm,
5K. People make fun of them for, like, instead of just only eating mac and cheese and ribs at a barbecue, they're also eating grilled vegetables or a salad as, oh, you're a rabbit now, that kind of thing. The stigma inside of our black families and our black communities make it really hard to stick to our goals or our game plans, right?
yeah.
So watching you really own this and be proud of it and then share it is has been just absolutely wonderful, and I'm super excited to see all of the women that you're going to touch, all the people that you're going to touch. It's chef's kiss. um so let's talk about, well, let's get into confidence now, because the entire concept around healthy big and black definitely requires a healthy dose of confidence in different ways. We talked, let's start with you talked a little bit about how imposter syndrome and those kinds of things come up. um do you feel like comparison is also in a part of like this journey to like self-help? And what are some of the things that you do to like decrease the level of like looking at other people too much and like staying in your plan?
Yes, absolutely. Probably not a huge surprise that comparison 10,000%
So
comes
especially on
up.
social media, huh?
Yes, yes, 10,000%. And we now live in this world where fitness is like really, really trendy. So like I remember when I first got on Instagram and me being who I am, I was like, ooh, I want to follow some fitness pages. So I remember typing in the hashtag fitness and oh my God, I
It's
was like,
painful sometimes. I go on there and I'm like, ouch.
fitness, exercise, workout, even to be honest with you, even like healthy, like everything now is just like everyone is this size. Most of them are white. Most of them look nothing like, I mean, full transparency, not even how I want to look, but just in general, a lot of it just looks like unattainable
Hmm.
and unrealistic. So I think that has for sure been like a really, really a really big part of comparison is the social media aspect, but also just even in person, right? I'm sure everybody can relate to, you're out with whether it's a group of all women or whoever it is, and you notice if you're the biggest. You just do. Like
Don't
you
worry,
always
people will
notice.
make you know it too.
Yes,
Other people will
exactly.
say stuff, look at you. Been there.
Exactly. So you know it because you feel it inside. You know it because sometimes there are assholes who will actually say something. Sometimes those assholes, unfortunately, are even your own family and friends. That probably will be another podcast episode. Um, but you have all these things that are, and on top of that, you just have general society, right? Like everywhere you look around, and then
Yeah.
you have the fact that it's so common, so normal to just spend so much time talking shit about your body. Like it is
Mm.
the social norm. Oh my God, I need to lose weight. I need to go on a diet. I have gained so much weight. Like it's just becoming hyper aware of how weight, because it's not really health focused, let's be honest. It's
No,
really weight
weight
focused.
focus.
You don't really hear anyone like, I should really eat more vegetables. I should really move my body more. What do you always hear? I should lose weight. Not, I should take care of myself. I should make more time to get rest. I should start having better sex. I should like, these are not the things that you hear, right? You hear, I need to lose weight. So all of these things make it really, really challenging to not constantly be comparing yourself to others. And this is a big one, comparing yourself to how small you used to be.
Oh my gosh. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day who said she was trying to get down to her high school weight. I was like, bitch, why?
You ain't even in
What,
high school no more.
what do you
Down.
need that body for? You are a grown ass woman. Stop it.
Yeah.
Absolutely stop it.
Literally, if I had $1 for every time someone told me they were trying to get back to X weight from before, or they talked about how small they used to be, I could probably retire tomorrow. And that includes myself. Full transparency. Like, I have spent a lot of time obsessing over how small I used to be. At one point, I was 1 pound, I was 1 pound more than what was always my goal weight. The irony, I still felt fat as fuck. I
Yeah.
still hated my body. I still thought I was too big. So all of these things adding up to comparison, right? Comparing yourself to people in your friend group, comparing yourself to strangers, comparing yourself to who you used to be. Some of the ways that have really been helpful for me is to combat that is, number one, social media, purging the shit out of who I follow.
That's what's up. Just talked about this in another episode. Clean it up.
Literally.
Clean it up.
Yeah.
And I actually, this is part of one of my I have a little workshop that's called Having a Healthy Relationship with Social Media. And there's a whole section in this workshop that teaches people and basically gives them permission to delete, block and delete, like you don't owe anybody your social media relationship. Like, I've deleted all of my family off of my social media after feeling this huge obligation to like keep them on, because I didn't want them to sit at some barbecue and be like, why did you delete me on Facebook? Hey, I don't like your post. That's it. You have my phone number. You can text me. No problem. Yeah. And I also had to come to the realization that I was following good people that made me feel like shit. I was following great people who had amazing messaging, who were doing the healthy lifestyle I was attempting to achieve, who were, working on their spirituality in a way that I really wanted to. They had great content that I loved it so much. And every time I went to their page, I was like comparing, imposter syndrome. Why can't I be like that? Am I ever going to have a social media page like that? Am I ever going to have followers like this? And I was like, you know what? Delete them. Don't block them, just delete them, and know that you can visit that page anytime you want. You need a little piece, you need a little taste, you can type them in, go search for them. But you don't need their stuff popping up on your feed every day if it's literally making you feel bad about who you are as a person.
1000%. And the thing is, you do have to have that honest conversation. And it doesn't have to mean that they are a bad person. It doesn't have to mean you don't like them. We don't even need, it doesn't even need to be all the drama. It's a matter of, does this trigger negative self-critical thoughts? One example that I always love to give is Megan Thee Stallion. I love Megan Thee Stallion. I do not follow her because whenever I go to her page and whenever she posts, all I think is, oh my God, her body is so perfect. I will never look like that. Now, do I go every few months and just go see what she's been up to? Sure. But I do not follow her. And again, like that's just one example. And these people, again, they might be your families, they might be your friends, they might be influencers, celebrities,
mentors, teachers.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, mentors. And I know you can have those feelings of, but they're gonna know, or but it's inspiring, and it's like, but is it? There's a.
And that's where you got to follow the feelings on that one. I really do believe that at the end of the day, what you're feeling is what you should be following. You should be following the feeling. You should not be following a person or following a content. I know, granted, like not for always, but I think if you get to a point where you're following somebody online and you're having intense feelings of not being enough, all your imposters and your inner critical voices start popping up, you're comparing, and then you start doom scrolling, right? You see one account that makes you feel away, and then you start looking at all these other accounts that like validate that feeling rather than, getting offline or looking at something more positive. It's just, it ends up being so negative. And I don't think that anybody has ever given women like permission to unfollow. We do get into that, like they're gonna know or they're gonna be upset. And probably not even gonna notice. And like if they do, I actually have had the conversation with a couple different women that like I took off my Facebook feed, and they tried to be my friend again, and I just straight up said, hey, you know what? Like my mental health and emotional state get very triggered, especially in my online space. I need my social media space to be a place I go to lift me up, make me happy, surround me with. And unfortunately, the things that you post, very doomsday, very negative. And like, I appreciate having you as a friend, but I can't have that in a space that I need to be a certain way. Yeah. And we, like, only you can curate your online space. nobody can curate it for you. So if you're like, I hate going on social media, it sucks. It's like, does it suck? Or do you just, you haven't curated the social media space to your benefit yet? Because there are a million amazing, positive, motivational, thought provoking like accounts and people out here. And it's just that you haven't surrounded yourself with them. You're surrounded by the opposite.
Exactly. I absolutely love what you said about essentially just like following those feelings and following those emotions. I used to follow a page called Weight Loss Transformations, and all it was before afters. And you know what? There were some years ago where my mindset was, this is motivating, this is how I'm going to, but did I know?
And it can
No.
happen. If it can happen to them, it can happen to me too. Like if they can do it, I can do it. Yeah. I have followed a lot of those pages too. And I got to a point where I was realizing that and just kind of what you said when we started our interview today, that like what I was realizing is that there was so much focus on the weight loss and not about the integration of healthy habits. And then I was like, why am I following this? Like, it's cool to see. Like, I do think those stories are very inspirational, especially
Yeah.
when you actually get to hear the story and not just see the video.
Yeah.
Like I've heard so many like actual journey stories where people will go through and be like, this is how I started. This is why I started. This is what I started with. This is how I progressed into different workouts. This is the food I never would have thought I would eat. And now I eat all of this all the time. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I like that part. And I like to see that there is a before and after. But at the end of the day, and I think that like you and I come from a very similar background, which is like helping people establish habits that benefit them. The idea of creating those habits is the most important part of that journey. And on social media, where it's all photos and videos and bikinis and vacations and all this stuff, that message gets really lost. And so I have to admit, I really appreciate following people like you who like continuously remind me. They bring it back to me. It's like I can get caught up in that comparison too. Like I'm not the only confidence coach in the world. You think I got my eyes on them and their success and what they're doing over there, right? But then I come back and it's like, oh, I'm back with my entrepreneurs. I'm back with my people who encourage healthy habits. Okay, what are your habits doing? And I actually love that you check me all the time, where it's like I get into a spiral and then she's like, okay, I hear all of that, but what are you doing for you? And I'm like, oh shit. Oh man, my coach is coaching me. Coach is getting coached. But
We
it's
all
like
need it.
really important to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people, and especially like us black women and women of color, like we need to be reminded by other black women and women of color, because we can get so caught up in other people's communities and other people's lifestyles that don't really benefit us at all, but we want to kind of try and fit in or find some belonging or be in there, and then it's like back to my sisterhood. I need to be surrounded by people who understand it, get it, and are on a similar journey as me, so that I can be checked every once in a while, so that I can feel like someone understands what I'm going through. Um, and I do believe that the online space is such a beautiful place to cultivate that. But again, you have to be proactive in creating that for yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I agree 10,000%. One thing you said that has stuck with me for so long, and this is back when I was doing more of like the general healthy lifestyle coaching. One thing that you said to me was, Bianca, I don't need another healthy habit for women entrepreneurs Facebook group, but I do need a healthy big and black group. You were like, I need a space to
Yep.
be healthy, big, and black. And that is something that truly stuck with me because for so long, as you know, like I'm all in my head, like, oh my God, I'm not the right person for this, right? I don't have the body. People are gonna judge me, all of these things. And then whenever, and this is really for anybody on any journey, if you're having these feelings, when you really think about what it is that you needed
Yes.
1 year ago, 2 years ago,
Yes.
5 years ago. And then it literally is like a light bulb. It's like, Bianca, you're leading this because you didn't have it.
Yes.
And because you know good and well what it's like to be out here in this world trying, being big. Like y'all can already see, I got a big personality, big goals, like all of these things. I'm in a bigger size body. I'm black and I'm not even light skinned. I'm blackety black. Like and that comes with a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that I have been going through this, the fact that I have been living this life is literally proof that other women need this. We need, you hear things like, oh, representation matters, but it doesn't really dawn on you until it dawns on you.
Yes.
how much it really does matter. It's like, Bianca, think about how you feel. Think about how you felt whenever you went and searched fitness. And you were hoping to find, another black woman, maybe, like a little bit thick. I mean, I ain't saying she gotta look exactly like me, but if she like this, I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
Personally, that's me. So I was like, imagine how many other women need that. Imagine how many other women need to look up the hashtag healthy habit, or healthy black women, and they need to see somebody they can relate to, somebody where they feel like their page, their group, whatever, is actually a safe space to be who they are right now, instead of feeling like, before I get there, I have to build all this confidence, I have to lose all this weight, I have to like, healthy being in black is essentially about embodying that woman, embodying that identity right now.
Yes.
Like today.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This is actually a really good segue because I wanted to talk about, I know that you're a very big advocate for progress over perfection and what it means to, I mean, I think that like this kind of deals in with habits too. We kind of talked about comparison, but I do want to talk about this idea of like perfection and also how it doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. So, perfection and perfectionism is all about constantly thinking that something else is better than what, like where you are or what you are right now, right? Like, oh, like the spot for perfection, like, oh, I'm here, but perfect is right here. But then you like do the work to get here, and then your idea of perfection moves, and it's always moving. So you feel like you can never. It's a moving target that doesn't exist, kind of thing, right? So I want to hear your thoughts on progress over perfection and what that looks like just for you in your life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Progress over perfection has been such a huge part of my journey. It's one of the biggest things that I talk about with clients, because it ties into this all or nothing mindset that says, if I didn't do it all, or if I can't do it all, then I'm shit. I did nothing. I'm worthless. I'm useless. I now have to start over next Monday. It's this idea.
That's my favorite one. Someone's like, oh, it's like Tuesday, and it's like, well, I had a donut for lunch, so I guess I gotta start again next Monday.
Next Monday.
It's like, how about
Next
you start
Monday.
again at dinner, bro?
Literally. So progress over perfection to me is really all about acknowledging all progress and then noting that, is there really a such thing as a small win? I mean, a win is a win, right?
Why
And
do we have to make them certain sizes? Wins are wins.
And this is definitely another thing that's placed on us in society, right? Because let's be honest, in this world of health, the biggest one of all, in theory, is weight loss.
Right.
So for progress over perfection, the main thing for me has been acknowledging whenever I honored my commitment. It's been acknowledging when I caught myself having a negative thought and then I stopped it instead of spiraling out of control.
Okay.
It's deciding that, oh, well,
that one's a great
I
one.
didn't.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So it's like, it's deciding that, oh, well, I only have 30 minutes. I thought I was going to be able to work out for an hour. So, fuck it. I just won't work out today. And instead deciding I'm going to take a 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
It's literally the difference between, okay, I am at, I don't know, like I'm at Chick-fil-A and, I'm ordering the meal. And so since I ordered this, I might as well get the soda. And instead being like, no, I'm gonna get a cup of water.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that's actually a real life example. I actually do get water on the occasions where I do have fast food. I would say more than half the time now I actually order water. And something like that for me, game changer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's like, oh, well, if you're going to eat fast food, you might as well get the burger, get the fries, get the shake, you might as well get it all. But it's like, says who?
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's really interesting too, because I think that this idea of consistency is really important too, because that's how progress is made. And it doesn't, we talk about like we're not really big on restriction, when it comes to like food or like not doing certain things or not going certain places. For the longest time, look, I love tequila, and I can't even, for the longest time, I was like, okay, I'm just like, I'm only going to drink wine now. And it's like, why? You love tequila. And it's okay that you love tequila. You're not freaking doing body shots in the parking lot. You like drink it like you respect the tequila, which I do, right? But there was a long while where I felt bad about it, where I was like, oh, I'm drinking like alcohol, and they all say like it's so unhealthy to drink alcohol. And then I had to come to you know what? A lot of the things that I love are unhealthy. I'm sorry. I like tequila. I like cookies. I like pizza, and I like to eat more than one slice. Like I like these things. I'm a big baker, and so it's like, okay, well, I gotta restrict sugar from my diet because they say it's gonna help me sleep better, or all this. And I'm just like, you know what? At some point, you have to realize that restricting is harmful, and it leads to abuse of whatever it is that you're restricting. And when you learn a consistent way to like enjoy it, not overdo it, incorporate it into your life so that you can have some kind of freaking joy, whatever joy it brings you, it should bring you that joy, and that when you get consistent in learning how to integrate it, right, that is progress, that you're not restricting yourself from things that make you happy, especially when it comes to like food and drink and places that you want to go and people that you want to be around. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely respect people who have taken the sobriety journey or decided not to drink alcohol anymore. I tried it for a while. It was okay. I've tried a lot of things. I went vegan for 2 years, and I was like, okay, I did that, and it wasn't for me, and that's okay. There are all of these things that we get to try, and there are all of these people who are going to say, this is the way to do it. This is the perfect path. This is how and a common theme in this show is that a lot of things need to be curated to who you are as a person, who you are and what you need. Confidence. What makes Bianca feel confident may not make me feel confident. And how do we know what those things are? We sit down and figure out what things make us happy and why they make us happy, and then we incorporate them into our life. And the idea that anybody would restrict themselves from those things because someone else is promising them weight loss or something like that, it's really sad to see. And so I love this idea of progress over perfection, with the addition of like consistency and learning how to make these things work for you, and just knowing and honoring that those things may be different for you than they are for a family member or a friend. And it's okay to say to that family member or friend, this isn't what I need. This isn't what I need to feel good or feel fulfilled. You do you, boo boo, and I'm going to go figure out what my thing is. And that we stand strong in finding out what those things are, because those are the things that help create our authentic identity, the parts of our personality, the who we are. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. One
So
of the things that I loved about what you said is you literally said, we get to figure out what works for us. And I just want to point out that I love that language, because when you embrace that being healthy can be about you getting to know the healthy vegan Black woman that you want to be, you getting really clear on the identity of the woman that you want to step into, you getting to explore all these new ways to be healthy. You don't have to go to the gym or on the treadmill now. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to restrict the cookies. You don't have to only eat salads, for dinner.
Oh, the only eat salad thing is so real. I'm like, who told you that? And who told you that all salads are healthy? First of all.
Listen, my salads are not healthy. I'm gonna be real honest. When I eat salad, it's actually because I'm like, I want to eat a salad. It's not because I feel like I need to be healthy. And my salads have bacon and ranch, and it's just it is literally it is what it is. But that's kind of the beautiful thing. You really do get to explore what healthy can mean for you. And when you release that, those needs to deprive yourself, the need to be like everybody else, the need to do it like everybody else, it is such a beautiful feeling. And you actually start to realize that part of the reason why you were overeating cookies, part of the reason why you were always skipping the gym, part of the reason why you weren't having these boundaries was because you've been trying to be somebody who you don't even want to fucking be.
Yeah.
It's
just on that one.
I'm telling y'all, it may sound, somebody might be out here this girl is crazy, but I'm telling y'all, it's fun. I am literally, there's so much joy in me exploring this new world of being healthy the way that I want to, really paying attention to my body and knowing that like if I really want some ice cream, I'm gonna fucking get some ice cream.
Yes.
And sometimes my body's gonna be like, bitch, we want ice cream. And sometimes my body's gonna be like, bitch, we need vegetables. Right? Like,
Yeah.
it just, and I've told Amber that this is one of the things that I love about her, because me and Amber can absolutely get together and have like pancakes, bacon, eggs for breakfast, have a salad for lunch, cheeseburger for dinner, and then like chug a gallon of water and then like take a walk. Like it's just
called balance.
thank you. That's it. And we feel great, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. And when I stopped, I did go through those spurts of time where I was trying to make meal plans, like, all of these big meal planners and only vegetables and blah, 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 blah. It was great to learn. I'm happy that I learned it. But at the end of the day, I was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fulfilled as I am as a human being. And if I died tomorrow, would I say, I'm really grateful I treated my body like that? I'm sorry, but like I would have been very upset with myself,
Period.
You brought up a really good point, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to point it out. And that you said that we get the opportunity to figure out who we are, our identities and I think 2 points I want to make here. And the first one is that we get to figure out that identity as adult women. I think that, and then the second point is that, and they kind of go together at this point, that for so long, Black women were not allowed to be who they wanted to be. They were not allowed to have an identity that was not given to them or forced upon them. So we actually are in this place where, I get it, there's still a lot of oppression and erasure and these things, that the stereotypes that try to keep us in these boxes of like, this is who you're going to be and you're not allowed out of there and we're going to keep you right here, right? But we're also in this movement, and the healthy big and Black movement is a huge piece of this puzzle for other women, that we get to decide our identities. And I know that there are women out there that will say, well, not me because I'm a mom, or not me because, my husband expects these things of me, or, not me because my parents keep saying, all this and that. And I've talked about this on the show before, and I think it's really important for us as Black women to acknowledge that you put those boundaries on yourself and you have the ability to lift them. Nobody gets to decide who you are. Nobody gets to decide your identity for you unless you allow them to. And I get it. Those are hard conversations to have when you have overbearing family members, when you think your kids are just like, you have to be, that all you can be is a mom, right? You're a mom and so much more. And you just have to make the decision to say, I'm going to explore my identity. And then I'm going to learn the things that make me happy. And then I'm going to incorporate more of those things in my life. I'm going to incorporate more of these traits in my personality. And the people who are around me either are going to get the fuck on board or leave me the fuck alone. It's a real thing. You get the opportunity to, so take the opportunity to,
Agreed.
So I want to talk to you about like what self-confidence is to you. And I would love, there are so many myths out there about confidence, especially confidence for Black women. And I would love to hear, what your confidence is and how you handle the myths that we face on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So for me, confidence is really all about honoring my commitments to myself.
Mhm.
Confidence to me is knowing that this may happen over there. This person might say this person might do that, this job might do what they do. But at the end of the day, Bianca got Bianca and Bianca's gonna be all right.
Yes.
To me, that is confidence. And I feel like we live in this world where we think that confidence is about the way you look. We think confidence is about success. We think it's about how much money you have, or we think it's some like external thing. And there's just not enough people. Luckily, we have Amber who is doing this, but there's just like not enough people who are talking about how confidence comes from within. And the beautiful thing is that confidence is a skill. And like once that hit me, I was like, oh, it's a skill.
Yep.
I can learn this.
Yep.
I can do this.
Yep.
And it's funny because I did a live video on my Instagram about this a few months ago, but it's funny because even throughout this journey, like full transparency, personally, my body confidence, it's been
Yeah.
It's been like this,
Yeah.
right? Like it hasn't been where I would have liked it to be. And recently, over these past few months, it actually just one day just hit me. I was like, Bianca, you have not like obsessed about your weight. You haven't really thought anything negative about your body. Like this, it's been a while. And I was like, what's going on? Like what's been happening? Because as you all know, that just sometimes becomes the norm,
Right.
right?
It's what
Like,
it's supposed to be. You're supposed to worry about your body all day long.
oh,
That's what the world tells us.
oh my God, Amber, when you were at my house and you said, but what if you just weren't struggling with your weight anymore? And
What if it's not a struggle?
I was like, what? What do you like? completely, completely mind blown. And it's funny because listen, if you are a Black woman out there listening to this and you're like, yeah, that's easy for you to say. No, it's not. I want to be very clear. It is not easy for me to say. But what I will tell
I
you,
remember when we were sitting there because we were doing the imposter syndrome workshop, right?
yep,
Yeah, we were doing it in person, and I said that to her. And I remember you kind of like teared up at it. You were like, and it was almost like it didn't even cross my mind that not struggling with my weight or my body image was a possibility.
because it had been a part of my identity for so long. Like because I allowed that to be like I took that on for multiple reasons, but right, like for so long that was just part of who I am. Like I was another woman out here struggling with weight. Like it was the thing to do. It was the thing to be. And like hearing you say that was such a shock to me. And even back then, right? So like I'm pondering it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, she's crazy. I'm like, I'm like, I'm like, what? Like what you mean? But how? But
But
how?
how? See, that's the part, is that the concept is there. And then people go, no one's ever taught me that my body image doesn't need to be a struggle, right? I think that's one of the beautiful things that I'm seeing in messaging for children nowadays, at least on my feed and the woke ass parents that I got around me, is that they're really taking a stance with their own children and even asking about it like in school, like, hey, we're not focusing on bodies, like, when my kid is trying on clothes, it's not, oh, you look cute, or oh, you look great. It's, how do you feel in these pants? How do you feel wearing this shirt? Does it itch you? Is it comfy? Is it too tight right here? How do you feel, not what you look like? And then also trying to establish, those words of affirmation around them as a character, as a personality, versus this is how you look. Or like even negatively, like, oh, your hair's nappy, go take care of it. It's like, hey, do you need some help doing your hair? So, those kinds of things, the way that you say things, especially to children, are so impactful. And there's always been, I mean, I grew up with, friends' parents who used to comment on all of our bodies all the time, like, oh, getting a little chubby there, right? Like, I played water polo and I swam for 6 years in high school and college, and not a single like meet or practice or something went by where someone didn't say something about how either I looked too big in my suit or I looked like I had lost some weight in my suit. And I was like, cool, like swimming, like my being in the pool, swimming, like I'm an athlete. I'm trying to be an athlete here. I'm trying to win games here. And all you can talk about is like, oh, you look cute in your suit. It's like, it definitely damaged me. And those concepts around, you know, not having to struggle with it anymore, it's really hard to think about how that can be because of all the messaging that we receive, right? Again, going back to cultivating social media pages, or a social media landscape that supports you rather than puts you in this place of where, I mean, I feel like you hit the nail on the head, which is like, I thought they were motivating me when they were actually making me feel like shit. And some people think that feeling like shit is a motivation. Well, if you feel like shit, then that's motivation to not feel like shit anymore. So you're going to do something different, right? Like, that's just fire on the fire. Like, you're not going to get out of it.
Too. I used to do that.
Yeah. And, I'm with you. And I'll share a little bit of my story too, but I was super tiny, thin, like a little pencil growing up. And then somewhere around 5th grade, I was butterball, and I stayed pretty butterball until I got to high school. And then even then it was like I got taller, but I was still chubby all over. And then I had my own battles with eating disorders, like my late teens, early 20s, and I got super duper skinny, super skinny. And then I kind of like evened out again somewhere in the middle where it was like I was always kind of thin, but I always had my pooch and like whatever the hell these are. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And then when my partner passed away, I gained 35, almost 40 pounds. And I didn't even realize it because it was just trauma weight and stress weight and eating weight and not exercising and not feeling good and being like in that very emotional, traumatic state for over 2 years. And then I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to carry my death weight anymore. So I'm going to try and like take it off. And then of course I'm in my 30s. So it's a little bit trickier to get weight off compared to how it used to be. And then I started going back into those like really unhealthy and harmful styles of trying to lose weight. And I did that for 2 years. And then I was like, what are you doing? You literally are wasting your life right now. You are wasting
Mhm.
time being unhappy and chasing this weight loss goal instead of, again, you hit it on the head, chasing healthiness and allowing your body to settle into whatever your body's going to settle in when you are incorporating healthy habits into your life. That's it. That's the fucking message. Why are we following weight or shape or size when what we should be following is health, nutrition? And I know that this isn't something that goes along with health and nutrition a lot of the times, but joy and happiness and fulfillment and allowing all of those things to come around and support us in creating our confidence as human beings, as women, as Black women, and as people. I
Oh,
went on my own
I,
little tirade.
I know, no, everything you said was amazing, and I have to like, I'm like Bianca, we're not gonna get emotional, but whenever you were talking about, like wasting time and wasting life, like that was one of the biggest wake up calls for me, is recognizing that I was literally missing out on life
Yes.
because I was so obsessed with how I
Yes.
look. And to all the Black women out there listening, if you are so obsessed with your weight that you're not going to certain events, you're not dating, you're not wearing certain things, listen, the queen of I'll take the picture because I didn't want to be in the picture. If you're not
Yes.
taking pictures, like realizing that you had these amazing experiences and you didn't take picture because you were like, oh well, my face is chubby right now. Oh, look at my second chin. Oh, like I don't have, oh look, poop was showing in the photo. I don't like my stomach in that.
You're gonna make me cry.
Literally, that Amber, that was such a wake up call for me. The recognition that, like, Bianca, you're missing out on life. You're not
And
fully,
people. You're missing out on
literally,
people. You're missing out on experiences. You're missing out
experiences.
on
And what is life? I mean, if you're not having experiences, what the fuck you doing here?
yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
honestly, I swear to listen, if y'all don't take anything away from this entire podcast, I'm gonna tell you right now, please stop missing out on life because of what everybody else is telling you is healthy, what everybody else is telling you is sexy, is perfect, and know that you can show the fuck up as who you are right fucking now and have a great fucking time. All right, enough F-bombs for like this 1 minute segment.
No, but I really am crying.
I'm holding back, Amber. Don't make
I think it is it's one of those messages that I feel like we don't allow ourselves to hear a lot. That we I don't believe that Black women are given the opportunity to live their own life in the way that they want it and to be happy and proud. We spent so much of history just being nothing, no one, and that those themes continue to roll down to us now, whether it's generational curses or just I believe in past lives, so unfinished business and the lives that came before me, and just really realizing that I've had a hard time talking to I'm biracial. I'm half Black and half white, and I've had a really hard time talking to my white family and my white community about how it is that I still experience these things from society and from history. Like, just because I'm half white doesn't mean it deletes any type of like historical understanding or societal implications that come to me. I still get all of that. And this idea that's like, oh, but like you also have this, so how, like, don't either they balance out or it erases it or something like that. And so for me, it was I've had more than one identity crisis for many reasons, but it took me a long time to get to that point where I realized that all of the harm that I was doing to my body, especially on the inside, like, and there are different types of eating disorders too. So you have the ones that actually harm your physical body, you have the ones that harm your mental body, you have the ones that harm your emotional body, right? And so when you start to put all that together and you realize how much time that you've spent treating yourself like shit, and it's like the world already does that for us. Society already does that for us. Why am I adding to that? And at the end of the day, you and I know this, you are the person closest to you. So if you don't have your own back, if you don't support yourself, if you don't love yourself, and this is one of my favorite Robert Downey Jr. quotes, if you're not on your own team, how do you expect other people to be on your team? Right? It needs to start with you. It needs to be with you. And these ideas that, and I also, one of the things I started doing when I was on this journey of letting go of the struggle of my weight, I still have these things pop up just like you do, just like all of us are going to have. Nothing ever disappears or is erased. It's about knowing that you're going to feel it and then having the tools in your toolbox to process it, get through it, not let it drown you. But one of the things that I had to start doing personally, because my voice is one of my biggest assets and my ability to stand up for myself is one of my biggest assets. But when people would talk about my appearance, used to make me so uncomfortable. And there are things where people are like, we love your curls. And then it's like, okay, but don't touch them. It's like, oh, your lips are so pretty. And it's like, what do you do with those lips? And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? All of these disgusting things that people say about my body. And I'm just like, So I have this photo of me that I'm super duper thin, like rail thin. My hair is really short. You can see the freaking chisel in my chin, my arms. Like I could put my arms around, like my fingers around my arms, and like I was small. And I showed this photo to somebody recently, and they said, "Oh, you look so good." And I said, "No, I look thin, and thin is not synonymous with good."
There you go.
And she looked at me like, I don't even know what to say to that. Like like almost like I was trying to give you a compliment and just give it back to me. And I was like, that's not a compliment though, right? That's messaging and programming that if it wasn't me, and don't get me wrong, it did trigger something in me where I was like, ah! But like if it wasn't me, imagine if it was someone who was still very much in a cycle of disordered eating, disordered health, especially around weight loss, and you said that to them. Imagine like what kind of spiral that could have put somebody else into. And part of my journey was learning how to say that shit to people, to call them out for that negative thinking around body size and body image, and let them know that like that's not okay. And a lot of people have a hard time having that voice. And I got to a point where I was like, this is my power. Yeah, this is and this is one of my powers. This is a way that I can give back to my community who struggles the way that I used to struggle, right? Just checking the person that says some shit like that could potentially be harmful to someone else. And at the end of the day, I just kind of want to go back to this too. It's like, it's not always going to be that you can stand up or that you can say something or you can check somebody or that you have that voice inside your head and you're like, shoo fly, don't bother me. Like there are going to be days where you have those spirals. There's going to be days where you have those setbacks. We've talked about emotional eating before. There's going to be those days where you emotionally eat. And like, there's going to be those days where you step back into a mindset of your eating disorders if you've had them. And the power that you have is to learn how to use your strengths to support you. Use your strengths to stand up for yourself. Use your strengths to get out of those spirals or those habits that are no longer benefiting you or making you feel like the worthy, amazing, healthy, big, and Black woman that you are.
Yes.
Well, healthy, big, and Black, I mean, of course, it holds a special place in my heart as its auntie. I mean, it just has been so beautiful to watch you embrace this. I wanted to let everybody know where they can find you on Instagram because your social media, let's talk about building and cultivating an amazing community on social media. Bianca is on Instagram at the Bianca Lynch, and I highly recommend you go hang out with her. I'm going to toss it back to you to kind of close out, but I wanted to say this in closing from Women of Color and Confidence to those of you who are out there who are wanting to embrace maybe a different lifestyle or a different way of being than you've always been. One of my first business coaches saw that I was really, really struggling with the idea of owning my own business. And and some of you may, like, maybe not it's necessarily in the business world, but somewhere in your life may feel like, leading is really hard, being the person that makes the decisions is really hard, like being, like, for me, being number one and being a CEO, it was like really terrifying to me because I'm such a great right hand woman. I'm amazing as number two, but I was always kind of like, but number one should be up there, like making the hard choices and stuff, right? And I had to step into this place where I really had to make some hard decisions. And I really had to decide for myself what I was gonna, what area of expertise I really wanted to write about and talk about, like how I was gonna help my clients, like who my clients were gonna be, all of these things. And I'll have someone who always wanted to be a speaker and an author and a motive and traveling around and running workshops. I was like, there's just so many things I want to do and be, but I feel like I don't know how to be that person. And my business coach said to me, the thing that they don't teach you is that at any point in your life, you can change your identity. You can choose whatever identity it is that you need to have to get to the dream you're attempting to fulfill. So, like, a lot of us tend to take on this idea that, like, wife and mother are very common identities. And a lot of women feel like once you are one of those two identities, like, that's it, that's what you got, right? And what I've learned over the course of my time being an entrepreneur and a business owner, which has been, I had my first business when I was 25. So there's been a lot of different businesses and there's been a lot of different journeys. But what I've realized is that every different, dream or goal that I have require me to incorporate different parts of an identity that I may or may not have had before. Now, this is a little bit different than your personality, right? Like your personality is pretty much like who you are and like how you show up and the smile on your face and like all those fun things, the energy you have. But in terms of your identity, that has to go back to like habits, right? If you're someone that wants to build a business online, okay, well, what are your habits around that? Because they're going to be different from someone who wants to run a marathon.
Right.
Those habits are different, right? And if part of your identity is being a runner, part of your identity is being a business owner, well, then you get to decide what those habits are based on the identity that you're attempting to achieve. And you can choose whatever identity it is that you want to have with the understanding that each identity is going to have these paths, these habits, these behaviors that you need to engage in order to get there. But that you don't have to just be one. You don't even have to just be two, right? Like I do a lot of things and I consider all of those things a part of my identity.
Yeah.
And I bring up running because someone was always like, are you like a running coach? Because I'm always posting about my runs and stuff. And I was like, no, but running is a part of my health routine. And my health routine helps me be confident. And I didn't realize that I was confusing people with this, like, are you a runner? Are you a running coach or something like that? I'm like, no, I'm a confidence coach. But those are parts of my identity that help make me the confident woman that I am, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, identity are the things that we choose, and the habits that go along with them are really important to cultivate those identities, and you can pick and choose and change them at any time. Okay. Huh?
I was just saying 10,000%, yes.
So I asked Bianca what it is that she wanted to be known for, and her response, an example of a Black woman doing all the things we were told we couldn't do.
Even when I hear it, I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. Just all the things, all the things that, growing up, we thought that was only for white people. All the things we thought that was only for thin people. We thought that was only for rich people. We thought that was only for anybody but Black women. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So join the movement. Come live your best.
Join the movement.
Yes.
I have to admit, I feel really lucky in the sense that I didn't have a strong Black community when I was growing up, mostly because my father was absent. And so I didn't get to know that side of my family or like my cousins very well. And even in school, I got teased a lot by a lot of the Black community for my hair and like being a swimmer and those kinds of things. Like I was also like super nerdy, and I think that like there was a part of, the Black students that I was among where they thought that me wanting to have an education was so fucking lame. And so I felt this huge disconnect for a very long time. And I feel so, so, so lucky that I've been able to cultivate these amazing relationships with amazing Black women in my life, because now I'm watching all of these badass Black women do all this shit that we have been denied for so long and succeeding at it. And I'm just like, yes, I kind of feel like Issa Rae, where I'm like, I'm rooting for every woman who's Black, every Black woman. I'm rooting for all of you. And it just, to see it with my own eyes, and then also to be considered among that community, I'm just like, I eat it up. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful for you. So grateful.
Thank you, Amber. This was such a good conversation. There's just so many things. It's such an important topic. Like, not, again, I just don't think there are enough people talking about it. There are not enough people addressing it. There's definitely not enough representation in this industry. There's not enough people out there saying that you get to be this, and you do not have to choose.
Yes.
You get to be Black as fuck, you get to be big as fuck, and you get to be healthy as fuck.
Yep.
And you get to enjoy it.
And you get to be happy. That's it.
I'm a living witness, y'all. I really am.
It's amazing to me how much they try to squash our happiness. It's like, oh, you're trying to be more than one thing. Well, let me get you. And it's like, back up off my neck, please. Like, I'm fine. I'm happy. And at the end of the day, for those of you who are listening to the show right now, and you're like, I'm healthy. I'm big. I'm healthy, I'm big, I'm Black, I want to be more healthy. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to turn. Bianca is an excellent example. And I hope that you will take the opportunity to go find her, follow her, fall in love with Healthy, Big, and Black in the way that I have. And, I'm going to bring it back to the quote that I said that you said, but, nobody needs another entrepreneur, a healthy space for entrepreneurs, but Healthy, Big, and Black women do need a space. It has been created for you. I'm super excited to be a part of it. And I'm just so excited to see how this movement grows. I know that it's going to be extremely impactful to our community. So thank you for bringing it to life. Thank you for making it such a beautiful part of your life and sharing from the heart. I know sometimes being vulnerable can be scary, but you are an amazing example for other Healthy, Big, and Black women. And so I also just want to say thank you for being vulnerable and sharing yourself, because it's real good.
Of course. Thank you, Amber. This was amazing. I'm so excited that I was able to be part of this, and so grateful.
Me too. Okay. Well, thank you so much for everybody who joined in on the show today. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with a fresh episode for you. Until then, see you.